Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. It's Betsy here, popping in today with a little how-to along with a project share. So first of all, what does a tree, an embroidery hoop, and a cake stand have in common? Absolutely nothing, but that's what we're going to be using on our project today. I have been having a super fun time playing around with our Nordic Tree die, which is this die right here, which comes in, has like 3 little sections that build to create this cute tree. But I have been having so much fun playing around with this die and creating little springtime baskets. So turn those tree sections upside down and you have this cute little basket, which this one is a little shaped note card, which you can open, and it's filled with some flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to put this together. So first of all, let's take a look at what I used for flowers to fill my little baskets. I found that this cute little flower cluster from our springtime set was a really great fit for the baskets. Both this is the largest tree section, and it works well for the smaller tree sections as well. This is a little 2-step flower strip here, which I have stamped several stems here already onto white cardstock using Mowed Lawn Distress Oxide ink. I found that my favorite method for doing these is stamping the stems first and then using the coordinating die to go ahead and cut those out, and then I'll stamp the blooms after I die cut. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay that die over the top of my stamped stems and use some washi tape to hold that in place, and I'll go ahead and run that through my die cut machine and I'll be right back. So there you can see we have die cut our stems, and now I'm going to stamp the blooms. I'm going to lay my die cut onto a piece of black cardstock just for some added contrast so that I have a little better visual for stamping these blooms and getting them lined up. I am going to be using worn lipstick ink and also mustard seed, and I'm going to apply the ink to my stamp using sponge daubers so I can get multicolored blooms. And I'm not going to be afraid to kind of mix the pink and yellow together because that will turn some of my blooms orange. So I'll go ahead and stamp that. So there we have a cute little bouquet that can easily fill our basket. So now I'm going to go ahead and put our basket together. I have die cut the smaller oval hoop from the Hoopla Oval die set. This has a wood grain texture to it, which makes a nice handle for our basket. So I'm going to fold it in half. And then take a scissors and cut it apart so that we have 2 basket handles. Folding it in half is just an easy way to do this quickly so your halves match up. So I'm going to attach that to one of the tree section die cuts. This is the largest section from the Nordic Tree, and I'm going to fold that and then go ahead and adhere the basket handles. The one in the back I'm going to attach so that the embossed wood grain is facing up. Just center that. And then I'll do the same for the other handle. Except this one, I'm going to put adhesive onto the embossed side. I'll lay it over top of my first one. And then close up my basket so that it attaches that second handle in exactly the same position as the other one. So then you have a nice, everything lines up. So this next step is completely optional, but I thought it would be kind of fun to give our basket a little bit of a base. There is a hole in the bottom because this is, like I mentioned, this is a tree section, and all these sections like slip onto the trunk. So there is a hole in the base, which is fine. It looks cute that way, but I thought it would be even cuter to add a little bit of a base. And so I have this little piece die cut here, which is actually from our Takes the Cake stand, and it's the perfect size for adding to the basket base. For the smaller sections of the Nordic Tree, we do actually have a smaller version of this cake stand die as well. This is in our Takes the Cake mini set. There is this tiny little cake stand, which would work for the smaller tree sections. But for the larger one, the full size Takes a Cake stand is a great size. So you can see I die cut that, just the bottom portion of the little stand. I didn't die cut the whole thing, just this bottom, trimmed that off, and just stuck that right up into that hole in the bottom of the basket. All right, so then I'm going to add my flowers that we stamped using the springtime stamp set. And I'm going to add those to the back side of this little basket. And then to polish everything off and make it look really nice and clean on the inside, I have die cut 2 of the plain side of the tree section. This side here, not the decorative side. I die cut 2 of those from colored cardstock. And I didn't die cut the whole thing. I just positioned it onto scraps of cardstock so that I just had this part. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim those just like that. So we have 2 nice clean sections. And one of those is going to get adhered to each side of our basket, just to make this inside look nice and clean and polished. And when I adhere this one, I'm going to put the adhesive on this side of the basket instead of the solid piece, so that I can make sure I don't get any adhesive showing through those cutouts. So that is really all there is to assembling this cute little shaped basket note card. On my finished one here, I did add a bow die cut as well. This was cut using our ribbon frame die. We have this cute bow, which is a great size to accent this piece. And I also added a sentiment onto a banner, and that sentiment was stamped. There's a bunch of fun springtime sentiments in the springtime stamp set, and those coordinate with the banner die from this is actually Christmas time sentiments die set, which also coordinates with the springtime sentiments. So we had just this fun shaped enclosure card, which does fit into our little 4-inch square envelopes. So I have a couple other projects to share with you using the same idea. This next one also uses the largest section from the Nordic Tree. Instead of making this a card that opens, like the one we just put together, I made a little pull-out. So to create this pull-out, I used the medium-sized section. The basket is again the largest section of the tree, but to create the pull-out, I used the medium section from the Nordic Tree and sandwiched a couple of those cute springtime floral little flower strips between 2 of the solid medium Nordic Tree cuts. And that just created this little pull-out. So everything else was basically assembled the same way as this one that we just created, except I just glued the sides together of the basket, and so I could put a little pull out instead of something that opens. So this next project is a cute little basket tag. This one uses the medium section from the Nordic Tree, and it just opens. It would be super cute to tie to a package or little Easter goodies and that sort of thing. And then finally, one more cute little note card. This uses the very smallest section from the Nordic Tree die. The tippy top of the tree creates this adorable little basket, and tucked up inside of that is that tiny little takes the cake stand from our mini set. That is a great size for creating that little stand on this tiny basket. And this was put onto a deco note card base for this cute little note card. And again, a sentiment from the springtime set. This little bow is actually from our ornamental tag die set. I used the same flower strip from the springtime set, and I just cut it up. Just snipped this apart into a few sections, and that fit nicely inside this little basket. One more little project share before I go. This card uses the largest section from the Nordic Tree die, and instead of creating a shaped note card, I put it on a regular card front. This cute scalloped card base was cut using our A2 stitched scallops die, and the basket is filled with a whole bunch of little goodies that I just kind of had in my scrap bucket. I have some petal pusher blooms, which is the pink and yellow and white. There's some lilac leaves. The spring sentiment is from the spring snowdrop set, and then I also scattered in a few little flower bits and confetti from our, I think it's garden bits mix is where those came from. All right, so thanks so much for joining me today for this little project how-to for these spring baskets using kind of an unexpected Christmas product. And I hope you enjoyed this little share of what I've been up to lately. I hope you're all doing good, and we'll see you back soon.